What's going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with the WNBA Layup session for Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. If you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. Let me know your WNBA picks in the comment section below. If you're looking for my best bets, the games that I love, head to Pickdawgz.com. Click the Experts tab at the top of the page. Going to have a WNBA play of the day on the board. Going to have a MLB pickoff play, and we're going to have a Hoops and Homers 5-pack for Major League Baseball and WNBA. Normally I do the layup session with Jay Briggs. I'm sure he's going to have a lot on the board as well. He's been on fire on his WNBA play of the day too. So, if you're looking for a $19 play, you can definitely check his out. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's what he normally does with it. But again, check his page. You can find it there. Pair us up. We can make you some money, the two of us. We've normally been making money, people hand over fist, from WNBA to MLB. We are in the dog days of summer, but like I said, there's still plenty of money to be made. There's still plenty of action to be had. And truth be told, I didn't know there was a whole schwack of WNBA that started early. I knew there were 4 games, but 11 a.m. Eastern sneaks up on you pretty quickly. So wanted to make sure that we had something out there for you guys. We're going to try to touch on as much as we can on the morning show as well. But like I said, we do have an early game too. So let's not waste any more time. We're going to try to speed run through these. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the games on Wednesday, and we'll try to make you some money. So you guys know the drill. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. The first game comes from the Mohegan Sun Arena, the Connecticut Sun taking on the Seattle Storm. And these are two teams that have already gone head-to-head this season. It was a 97-81 win in Seattle. And it was a game where the Connecticut Sun were catching 19.5 points. This is a Sun team that's caught double digits for much of the season, including in each of their last 4 games. But they're just 1-3 against the spread in that 4-game stretch. So while this is a boatload of points, the Sun have made it extremely hard to really take any sort of number with them, even in the underdog role. I understand why it's worth looking at, but again, the Sun have lost their last 4 games, by 18, 39, 16, and 24. They're on a double-digit losing streak. So that's the case we made for the Storm, but I can't make a case for Seattle either, because this is a massive number. We've seen, like I mentioned, Connecticut, sneak in the back door against Seattle when this game was in Seattle, just a couple of weeks ago, and it just makes it hard. So rather than mess around on a side here on an inflated line, I think the best play here is to take the over, because the one thing that's kind of stood true for the Connecticut Sun through this whole losing streak is the fact that the defense has been a big problem. You look at their losing streak, they have given up at least 78 points during each of their last 10 losses: 86, 102, 97, 85, 87, 86, 83, 88, 78, and 104. The defense is a problem, and even a mediocre offensive game for the Connecticut Sun, I think, pushes us up and over this total. I don't think Seattle has any problems getting this done. It's not like there's a look-ahead spot either, because these two teams just have the second leg of the home and home coming up after this game. So I'm going to lean towards the over between the Sun and the Storm. Next, we go to Gainbridge Fieldhouse for a matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Golden State Valkyries. And, this is supposed to be the return game for Caitlin Clark. At least that's what it's been slated as. And Indiana, they were running along quite nicely before their loss to the Los Angeles Sparks. And that kind of is my mindset for the Indiana Fever right now. It's just an extremely frustrating team to back. I get it. Indiana's getting Caitlin Clark back, the likes of Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, even other people like Sophie Cunningham have stepped up in relief of Caitlin Clark, during her absence. I mean, you've also seen, Ari McDonald, Lexi Hull also sort of take steps in their progression. But again, he also fell flat against the Los Angeles Sparks, who for me have been one of the most disappointing teams in the WNBA this season. I get it. You're bringing back a top 10 player in Caitlin Clark, but a lot of times, even when a team is humming along the way the Fever have been, when you reintegrate someone like Caitlin Clark, who is definitely capable of, winning a game on her own and, taking over a game on her own, sometimes it can take a little bit to get her feet back underneath her. Groin injuries can be a little bit tricky. You don't want to have them flare up again. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Fever maybe took a bit more of a cautious approach. The Valkyries are a team that, I've said I prefer backing them as an underdog compared to a favorite. But when you're backing them as an underdog, I prefer to back them as a home dog more than I prefer to back them on the road. And we've seen that kind of come to fruition for Golden State in some of their recent games. I mean, they were underdogs against Minnesota and Atlanta in their 2 games on this road trip so far and have failed to cover in both of those games. But I think a lot of, money is going to be on the Fever here with the return of Caitlin Clark. But I think that's going to just inflate the line a little bit. I think this is a game where the Valkyries could, put up a fight, at least keep it respectable. I think the Fever win this game, but I think I could see a 6 to 8 point win. This line is trickling up to 9. So I'm going to take the Valkyries here plus the 8.5, 9 points. It was 8.5 when I did the graphics for this video, but again, I'm seeing 9s out in the market as well. So I'm going to take the Valkyries and the points in this one. Now we're going to the PHX Arena for this matchup between the Mercury and the Minnesota Lynx. The Mercury catching a decent amount of points here at home, but a lot of it is because if you dissect the injury report, once again, it is just very, very problematic for the Phoenix Mercury and the state of this roster right now. For the Mercury, you're still missing Satu, you're missing Lexi Held, you're missing Kalia Copper, and those are 3 huge names to be missing. Now, granted, I thought the same thing was going to be a problem for Phoenix against Dallas, and while the Mercury came out and put up 102 points in that game, really showed no signs. But again, that was also against the Dallas Wings team that has been one of the weaker defensive units in the WNBA this season, despite having some solid talent within that lineup. And, this is also a Dallas team that was missing some pieces of their own, and Phoenix just took full advantage because you still had Alyssa Thomas, you still have Sammy Whitcomb taking steps up as well. But I think that can work against Dallas. Don't know how much it's going to work against the Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx, the only injuries they really have within that roster right now are to Carly Samuelson, who's pretty much been out for the season and has been out for the last little bit. So I think that's just going to be the only problem here for Phoenix, is that I just think they're understaffed. And like I said, you can get away with it against the Dallas Lynx, but I don't know if you're going to be able to here against the Dallas Wings. I don't know if you can get it done here against the Minnesota Lynx, who for me are the best team in the WNBA this season, full stop. So it's a little bit of lumber to lay on the road here, especially for a Lynx team that failed to cover against Chicago last time out. But part of me thinks that was just sort of the second game with a quick turnaround. They just got caught looking ahead, or not even looking ahead. They just got caught in sort of that letdown spot, if that's the word I want to use here. But either way, I'm taking the Lynx here. I think they win this one comfortably. I'm going to lay the points of Minnesota on the road. The final game on the board for Wednesday's WNBA cards, coming to us from the Wintrust Arena. It's the Dallas Wings paying a visit to the Chicago Sky. And, I mentioned in that Phoenix Mercury game that, the Dallas Wings were missing a lot of pieces in that last matchup, which was the rematch against Phoenix. Lost that game by 30 points, and those pieces are still missing here. Arike's out for the Dallas Wings. Maddie Segrist is out. Dejanay Carrington out. And that's a big deal for me. I know Camila Cardozo, Courtney Vandersloot, obviously Vandersloot's out for the season after, an ACL injury. Camila Cardozo is still dealing with stuff with the national team. But you have Angel Reese taking some serious next steps in her progression of her career. And the fact of the matter is for me that this is, a Dallas Wings team that has been decent on the glass this season, but you're missing a lot of the key pieces that have helped you with your rebounding numbers this season. And Angel Reese is just a force on the boards herself. Ariel Atkins has still been able to take a lot of the scoring workload off of Angel Reese. It's not just a one-sided thing. And I kind of scoffed when Jay and I were talking, and even on the morning show when he was throwing out Nicole, the association with Nikola Jokic with some of the stat lines that Angel Reese has put up as of late. But I can't argue that, and I'm not sort of backtracking. At the time, I thought it was ridiculous, but maybe he's right. The thing about Angel Reese is that she's put up, I think it's, if I'm doing my my recollection here, I think it's 15 plus rebounds in 5 straight games. 15, 17, 16, 18, and 17 again. 20 plus points in a couple of those. All those have had at least 16 points as well. I think she's just going to be on another warpath here for some rebounds. I would easily look at the Angel Reese over in the rebounds prop as well. But I just really don't think that Dallas has anyone in this game that's going to be able to hang on the boards with Angel Reese here. I think the Sky can get a solid win at home and maybe build some momentum. This has been a great cover team as of late, and I think the Sky get another one. So I'm going to take the Sky either laying the point or taking them on the money line in this one. That's it. That's all the WNBA action for Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Again, if you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. Let me know your WNBA picks in the comment section below. If you're looking for my best bets or Jay's best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz by clicking the experts tab at the top of the page. Again, plenty of action to be had today, so make sure you check that out. We're both active on Twitter, Instagram. You can check out our Pickdawgz Twitter or Pickdawgz Instagram. That's been a lot more active as of late. Parlay God J, I believe, is his handle on socials. Mine's Ruff the Pickdawgz. So, I said we're both active, so you can check us out there. But I appreciate each and every one of you that's tuning in to join us for the layup session. And let's make you guys some money. Best of luck. We'll see you guys soon.